Hello. As over 14,000 athletes from 45 countries are competing in the 16th Asian Games, we encountered unfortunate news that the anti-Korean sentiment has been rising in Taiwan after the Taekwondo match, where the Taiwanese participant was disqualified. And it is interesting because the disqualification of the Taiwanese athlete actually has nothing at all to do with Korea. So I have looked in depth on how the international events such as the Asian Games could boost nationalism among people and what caused the anti-sentiment in Taiwan. Let's take a look.
Anti-Korean sentiment is running high in Taiwan following the disqualification of Taiwanese Taekwondo fighter Yang Shu-chun last Wednesday for using extra sensors in her footwear.
我们都对这件事情感到生气，然后也不满，然后就是会觉得说，这个比赛好像在大会在判决过程，还有就是整个的事后处理，都让我们觉得好像不是这么的公平公正。
好，经过确认没有问题。
The ruling came while Yang was leading the match in the women's 49-kilogram category against her Vietnamese opponent.
没有任何的意外，这几乎是笃定要闯进到金牌战的身手。
Rumors swirled that Korea and China conspired to strip Taiwan of the gold medal and that Korea was behind her disqualification. Then the Taiwanese held rallies over Yang's disqualification, set up internet support groups, and even burned Korean flags.
The Asian Games of people coming together from lots of different places to compete, but also ideally it's to share with one another. But instead what you get is you have scarce resources. And in this case, a gold medal is a resource. And everyone's going after that. And so with that comes this idea of sort of a national fervor.
Professor Willoughby said such an international sporting event can trigger nationalism among supporters since one athlete represents an entire nation in the game.
But somehow that one person is representing our entire nation and everything that we want. And so it can be a battle not person against person, but on the larger scale becomes nation against nation.
Heated debates over the incident flooded the internet, and some groups of enraged sports fans even called for people not purchase Korean-made goods.
Even when I was watching it myself, I felt this was a really very unfair decision, and many Koreans also have expressed the same feeling. But I guess the viewers, the Taiwanese viewers, they felt that one of their few real idols was pulled out of a game unfairly, and they've reacted unfairly in a sense as well.
No Korean athlete was involved in the match, and none of the referees were Korean either. The chief official was Chinese, and the head of the referee board was Singaporean.
Korea was not involved intimately in this specific match, but why do you think that that match brought anti-Korean movement? Why Korea?
Sport itself is Korean, and a lot of Koreans have always been involved in the decision making. The South Korean government had to take a step back in the relationship with the country in 1992 when they decided to kind of become closer allies of of China itself, of China proper. And perhaps it is possible that that also underpins this sense of unfairness towards Korea.
Going back to nationalism, people suddenly become patriotic during international sporting events.
When we watch these international games, suddenly we're made aware again of us belonging to a specific unity, and I believe that this feeling of belonging is therefore perhaps augmented a little bit more than it otherwise would be, and it's almost like a feeling of nostalgia over, hey, I'm Taiwanese.
Taiwan President Ma Ying-jeou called for restraint against irrational behavior after the anti-Korean protests, saying that the incident does not involve the South Korean government and its people, and that the Taiwanese media actually exaggerated the incident. But the Taiwanese government said Sunday that it would continue to consider taking the matter to the International Sports Court.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and our President Ma Ying-jeou, and they urged the Taiwanese people be calm down and don't blame Korean for this incident. We have a right reason to protest the Asia Taekwondo Union, but we don't have a reason to protest Korean people and government.
The Taiwanese government hopes this will not bring bitterness between the two countries.
Taiwan is still very friendly to Korean people, and Korean tourism and people still welcome to Taiwan.
I mean, Nari, we certainly hope that this will not alter or deter the relationship between Korea and Taiwan. And it's interesting that you said nationalism or patriotism comes out in international sports events.
I mean, we see that everywhere, even like Korea too. I'm sure everyone remembers about the Red Devils and
Right.
how Koreans during the World Cup in 2002 and the aftermath that they went all patriotic and they were wearing red. So I think we can find that in every sports events.
Right, and so how has the Korean government responded to this?
Well, the Korean Foreign Ministry's officials' stance is that Yang's disqualification has nothing at all to do with Korea. And as all of the experts and officials I have talked to told me that the anti-Korean sentiment is not as serious as it seems or as it is reported by the Taiwanese media. And they all said this incident will not harm the relationship of the two countries, and we hope so.
Yeah, hopefully that this will die down very quickly. All right, thanks very much for that report, Nari.
Thank you.